again, everybody. It's Harry Boxer, the technical trader at thetechtrader.com. It's February the 8th, Saturday morning. This is the weekend webinar. Another interesting week in Wall Street as the markets pressed to highs and pull back. On Friday in particular, the S&P reversed after getting above 6,100, where there's resistance between 61, 20, and 28. We didn't quite reach it, and we backed off. Now, we're still above the moving averages, but that negative reversal day of Friday could be ominous for a bad day on Monday. We'll see. But going forward, look at the overall trend. It's still up, and if this consolidation holds, fine. But right now, support is at apparently 59.90, where there's a moving averages and price support. Below that is 59.24 in that area. And if we really get ugly, down to the January low, 57.73. Those are numbers to keep an eye on, as well as 61.28 if we break to the upside, which could lead to 62. 25, 35, maybe even 63.5. That's the possibility if we break back out. What does the NASDAQ 100 look like? Well, the NASDAQ generals, similar, have not broken out. There's a distinct declining top sign, which we met on Friday, backed off of it. Also, negative engulfing reversal day. We'll see if it leads to the downside. There is a key zone of support across here, around 21,000, 20,975 to 21,000 in that 25-point zone. If we break that, we're headed to 20,560-70 area. Yeah, 20,500 and in that area, 25,500, 500, 550. That'd be pretty negative. If we can break down below that, then we have a massive bear phase coming. That's what it appears. Transportation and you can see is not keeping pace and looking pretty ugly, quite frankly. It's a negative divergence. We've had a 1-2, and then we broke this rising wedge in wave 2, came down to test support and break. But if they take that out, if they take this level out right here, and the trannies below 15,675, we can see 15,365, and then maybe even 14,990 to 15,000. Test that area. Wouldn't shock me based on this being a 1-2. If we get a 1-2 and a 3-4-5 down here, we're going to see 15,000, which means a 1,150-point drop on the Dow Jones Transportation Index. Won't be pretty. Could lead the market lower. More importantly, look at the long-term trend line going back 3 years. If we violate this zone, we're in a new bear phase. At least that's what it appears. Small caps, what are they doing? Well, they led here in November, but and then bounced, but could not get through key resistance until the IWM gets back over 230 and shows me some energy. It's vulnerable. This is a 1-2 as well. If 3 comes in, might very well lead to a drop down towards 208. That's 17 points down from here, about 5%. So look, we have vulnerability, and more importantly, again, the rising trend line of the last year or so comes in around the I would have to say 217 area. So 217, 214 key levels to watch for the small caps. What are the major ETFs looks like? The SMH broke down hard with the breakaway gap and now has a rising wedge to the moving averages and failed on Friday. This is a pretty ominous looking pattern to me. It's a 1-2. I think 3 is coming. And if the market does break, we can see a retest of this area here, which is key support, 216-ish on the SMH. Biotechs, pretty dire looking, although I will say this, until Friday, this looked like an inverse head and shoulders, and it still could be. But this Thursday, Friday decline right to the shoulder line is ominous. If we crack here, we're coming quickly, I think, down to 78.9. If they break that, you can see the downside. It could be 70. So we're in a new downtrend already on biotechs. And you saw the semiconductors, again, they appear to be, if they break below the 4 or 5 month platform, won't be pretty for the market either. The one stalwart is financials. Look how strong they are. And even made a new all-time high on Friday, believe it or not, 187.21. The highest level ever achieved in this index. Let me just reiterate. Okay. So the key point for this one to watch if the market does come down with two levels. That's 174 and the key level 168. That's below 160, 165, 68 area. That's a key level. That's moving averages, price support. We're in a new pullback phase. So I would say watch the financials to see if they confirm the rest of the groups. Now look at the NASDAQ 100 leaders, and you'll see a sight that's worrisome. First of all, Apple, looking at the long-term chart and the intermediate chart as well. Apple had been an uptrend since the low back in April, when it reached about 164, made it up to a new all-time high 5 weeks ago, 260, and has come down hard from 260 to 219. Bounced, reversed. It's a negative reversal after a breakout. A lot of head fake there, in my opinion. In fact, you can probably do this and call that the trend. And I'm going to draw in a line here that tells me if Apple breaks this wedge, and it did it on Friday, but if it has a follow through to the downside, we can test 220.21 quickly and maybe even 214. You break that and all hell breaks loose. Amazon was looking great early in the week, and matter of fact, it tagged a new all-time high at 242.52 and then came down. Friday in particular was bad as it dropped from nearly 239 to close at 228.5, about 10, 11 points down, and on the trend line, near 50-day moving average as well, 225. A break below 225 would probably lead to 217 and much worse. I think watch Amazon for clues to market direction. Google, boy, that and also made a new all-time high on Monday, and they gapped down Tuesday, stalled, and then hard hit Friday, right on support here. Right on support. Any further damage, say below 183, could lead to 174.5 quickly. The way it closed and that bearish bar on Friday, the lowest close on it since first week of December, 4 or 5 weeks, 6 week low, tells me that this is very vulnerable to a further decline. Now the long-term chart that I have, going back a couple of years, shows a trend line that comes in around probably about 173.4. So watch this one for downside follow through. I think the market's set up for another further hit on Monday, but we'll see. Things can happen either way. Netflix, on the other hand, powerhouse. If it wasn't for Netflix, I don't know where the NDX would be. Look at this, a new all-time high, Friday morning, 1,027. Finished 1,014-ish, still only off a point on a day, but this is the number for me to watch. Two of them. First of all, 950, and then 916. Those are two levels to watch going forward if this should back off quickly. The target's 1100 if it breaks out. I did want to show you Microsoft, which looks really bad. I've been talking about a topping pattern of Microsoft for, 8 or 9 months. And, it looks like it breaks out here and it pulls down, then it snaps back and then it breaks down. And Friday was pretty negative reversal day for me, especially when you see a stock break a key support level here with a huge gap and never recover. I think Microsoft's headed for 392.3. If that happens, and that's 16 points from here, we could have a pretty, again, with the other stocks we talked about, Apple and Google and some of the others that have reversed, this could be a setup for a downside move. You got to be really, really careful next week. It's going to be very volatile. Obviously, a trader's market. That's what we are, and we'll see what happens. Meta is the other stock that's a powerhouse. New all-time high on Friday. How about 725? Highest ever. If that reverses, the first support on this one is 680.82. And then a monster of the midway, and it's more of an ugly monster. It's been of late, is Tesla, which has, as you can see, hit a new all-time high at 488 I think I'm right. Yeah. All-time high of 488 in December. Came down and bounced, and now appears to be in a new downtrend. Now, I don't know if it cracks here where they can take this. But let me tell you that 309, if we break in this area, it might very well. This could happen quickly and ugly on Tesla. The trend line's been broken, price support broken, moving average is rolling over. I would seriously look at the TSLQ and the TSLS. Both appear to be ready to turn up. These are Tesla ultra shorts. I'll be closely watching these Monday for trading opportunities. Sure looks like they have room to run on the upside, and the first time they closed above the moving averages in months. So something's afoot at Tesla, and it ain't pretty. All right, well, that covers for the most part the NASDAQ gels. We have a lot of stocks to talk about, but let's look at some underlying technicals. McClellan Oscillator is not that oversold. It's only minus 21. That leaves a lot of room on the downside for the market to drop further. So careful. I would think test of 80 to 100 negative would be almost a fait accompli. And maybe we get down to minus 150, even 200 to 20, where there's some really oversold indications, but we haven't gotten there. The percentage of stocks above their 40-day moving average shows that it's still almost half the stocks are above their 40, but that could change quickly. More importantly, the VIX, it just isn't going anywhere until that spikes up. We don't have a market panic. So once the market starts to drop, the UVXY could be very interesting, and same with the UVIX. Now, I'm not seeing anything on the daily chart. Let's look at a 15-minute. We'll see that they popped on Friday, and I'm going to watch these carefully for opportunities. Should the market drop further, along with the small caps, the TSLA, they both look the same. And then, of course, if the semiconductors continue to drop, the SOSX, which popped and it's coiled into the close on Friday. So maybe if these break out and the market breaks down, they could run some, and we can have some trades on those. So keep an eye on that. Let's go to some of the other commodities that we follow closely. Commodity ETFs, such as, for example, gold and silver. GDX has had a pretty good move and broken through a couple layers of resistance here and here. We're up against the third layer, and we backed off on Friday. Now, this has come about 5 weeks from 33 to 41 and change. May need to back and fill or pull back and retest. I wouldn't be surprised to see it move back down towards 40, 39, something like that. The GDX. The ones we follow closely are the multiple, the 2 and 3 times the nugget, for example, which is large gold miners. Same pattern. And then there's the JNUG, junior gold miners, same thing there. It's pretty good moves in the last couple of weeks, the last month. This is broken out, but it's at that September high. Gonna have to readjust the channel here, it looks like. Anyway, I'm not high in gold and silver, but gold looks a little better right now. Silver, and here's why I say that. The AGQ has not gotten back above the moving averages, above the last highs, where there's a clear resistance level. It just doesn't act as well. So I'm not high on silver right now. That's the ETF. SLV looks a little better, not by much. It also stalled right at resistance. If we break through, though, this can spike. So from gold, well, keep your eye on those. All right, well, and now the gas area, boy, oil was looking good. But now when I look at this pattern, I'm looking at a left shoulder, a head, and a right shoulder, and that's ominous. But yet the coal, the KOLD, the bear, doesn't look as good. Although I will say this, if it gets above 42.5, 3, above that zone, it could take off. Meanwhile, it's still in a downtrend, in a 1, 2, 3, 4, and then we could get a fifth wave, or we have already got a truncated or shortened fifth wave. However, I'm not going to be shocked to see 21, 23 range. So that means that natural gas is going to have to make a move, and this is going to have to move up in that zone. Maybe the angle of ascent has changed, and it looks like this. There's your new uptrend in gas. Be very bullish if it got above Friday's high. Above 64.5 would be very bullish for the oil. Okay, that's enough on the commodities and ETFs. We have a lot of stocks to talk about. Let's go over them. We'll start with cannabis stock ACB with a good earnings report. Just exploded with big breakaway gaps to 3 moving averages on a mere volume of 70 million shares, and then followed through and backed off Friday. Keep an eye on this one. If it gets to this zone, the targets are 7 and then 9.5. Although the rest of the group doesn't look as good. AdTran, look at this chart. Stock that traded in the mid-20s dropped all the way down to 4. Based out, broke out, flagged. It's in a beautiful rising channel, parallel 45-degree angle. Target 13.5. AEM, this is a gold miner, one of the better ones. Coiling base breakout occurred early last year. And for the last exactly 1 year, the stock has gone from 44 and change to 98, more than doubled, with a target now of 110.12. Firm, big breakout Friday, strong report, strong chart, 1, 2, 3, 4, fifth wave may be underway, depending on the market, of course. If the market cooperates, 90 and 110 might be targets. Obviously, AI stocks are in play. This is a 1-2 wedge, 3-4 wedge and breakout. Get this one up through 6.25, and you might see 8, 9, 10 or more. Pretty powerful looking potential. AKRO, massive positive drug news induced spike gap, and now a coil. Obviously, resistance at 57.5, 58. If you get above 58, 8.5, you might see 65 and then more. AKLB, this is on a short list. I'll be back later on that one. Alaska Airlines, well, I'm just amazed. With the price of oil having dropped, obviously most airlines look a lot better, but look at this chart. 33 to 76, and it's still going. United Airlines looks the same. What I would do is keep an eye on Jets, the ETF for this group, which has gone from under 17 to 27, targeting 28.5, 9, and maybe even low 30s, maybe 32. AMPX is something I'm really seriously considering put a swing on. First of all, stock that traded in the low to mid 20s. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 waves down. V bottom. Turn around. It's a 1, 2, 3, 4. It's got a beautiful bull coil wave 4 and it's pushing. If it gets through here, 5 3/4, 6.25 zone up there is my next target. This could be a nice swing. I may put it out on Monday. I'll let you know. API, obviously spike pullback and then another retest of those highs twice before the falling wedge kicked in to the trend line. Snapback, we're at a triple top, folks. This software stock is right at a point where if it goes, it could spike into the 10-12 zone. Something to keep an eye on. That could be a good swing too, if it breaks out. Apps, well, obviously a massive breakout, and we put a swing on it. It just kept going. It went from 312 to 513, finished 489. It finished it. That was on Thursday. Thursday, it went from 312 to 513 on 121 million. Then Friday, right at resistance, backed off just a little, kind of an inside day, lower volume as well. My projections are that if the market cooperates and we can get this to break back out, the next target is 6, then maybe 7.5. Those are my swing targets if momentum continues. AS has been on my list for weeks, months. What a chart. 11 to low 30s, tripled. It doesn't look done yet, although Friday was a negative day for it. ASTS, strong week until Friday when it reached resistance and backed off. Watch for backing and filling consolidation in this area. And if it gets up through 31, it's rock and roll time. Probably mid to high 30s. ATGL, pop, wedge, falling wedge, coil, reversal bar Friday, a big one, after testing support right there. So that's a bull flag. And if we should make another move out of here, I'm not going to be shocked to see 30 or better. That's a big move. Potential swing. It's thin. AU in the gold sector, one of my favorite goals. It wasn't looking good until the last, leg. Boy, what a nice reversal. 22.5 to 32 and a quarter, about a 10-point run. It's near resistance. Long term, I can see 45. How about Blackberry? We haven't even seen this, but look at the base breakout, run, rising flag, and boom. What a nice week for that one. Just since November, around Thanksgiving, when it was trading at 230, it made up to 547, about 150% move, and doesn't look done yet. We could see 5 3/4 and 7. BBAI, wow, this tech trader swing actually didn't work the way I wanted it to, because it popped here, we put a swing on it, and then rolled over and retested, broke support. I broke my stopping point, but not trend line and moving average support, then coiled and broke out. Nice run the last week and a half, 3.5 to 930, almost tripled. My target's 11 and then 1560. Could get there. Good momentum. Friday's volume, 235 million. Oh boy. Black Sky. Even though it pulled back this week, I love the overall look. It's a 1, 2, 3. Even if we do get a wave 4, I think the fifth wave gets us to the mid-20s. Dutch Brothers, more new all-time highs. Not quite all-time, but it is multi-year highs. Look at this chart. Look at the momentum on it. We might reach 70 and then 80. Boston Scientific. I just wanted to show you this chart. It's outstanding. From October of 23, 48 to last week's high of 107. And in a beautiful rising channel. A little extended to the top of the channel, but momentum could take this into the 112.15 range. BYRM, beautiful snapback Friday. This is a tech trader swing. From here, it continues to look awesome. I'm not going to be surprised to see this reach 40-44 range. CADL pop last week, and particularly Friday, coming out of a falling wedge near the moving averages. My target is 10 3/4. Car Gurus. What a great chart. 16 to 40. And based on this angle, we might see 45 or better. Carnival. Well, we've been watching this since it broke the triple top. I'm not sure why I didn't put a swing on it, but it was an ideal swing right there at about 20.5. It made it up to 28 3/4, and it's consolidating. Targets at 31 and 35. CDZI, breaking out of a base, pop wedge, pop another wedge. This is more of a falling wedge. This is more of a lateral. I think we're going to see 5 3/4 and 7. Cognite Software has been on my list since it broke out back here in 23 when it was 4 and change. It's now over 10. My target's 12.5, 13. Celebrate, fantastic rising channel. 4 to 25 over the last couple of years. And momentum says we go higher. High 20s target. CLPT, a tech trader swing, broke out, coil, popped, and flag, and it's going again. This one could really run. 23.4 and 28.30 are targets. CMPO, beautiful multi-month consolidation, but it needs to get back through here. The long-term chart says it's time to either break out or break down. CMPX, inverse head and shoulder, breakaway surge, little pullback retest, and then go. At that point, it went from 170 to 370, and now breaking that through here, we might get a test of the highs at 5.5. Chimerix, we're going to pop and pull back. We put a swing on it. It's worked perfectly from 270 to 430. My targets are 5 and 6 1/4. Contessa, beautiful 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and now a consolidation and a breakout. The only reason I have it is because of the trend is intact. And the breakout occurred Friday. Target 23. COCO, after a beautiful run here, a long consolidation, almost an inverted head and shoulders, but broke the neckline, retested it, popped flag, and now it's moving again. This could be 45 or even 50 near term. CORT, something I've had on my list ever since it broke through the base. Look at that running channel. Where's your target? 88. COYA exploded Thursday on big drug news, positive drug news, and pulled back. I think it's a buy right here, but it's very thin, folks. The ideal scenario is it gets above 7.75, and that's where it can go to 9, 10, 11. CPIX exploded last week and pulled back on Friday. Keep an eye on this one. It's that kind of a symmetrical stock. Pop coil, pop falling flag, spike. It may need to sit up for a week or so, but I think the target's 7.5, 8. CRNC, pop coil, we put a swing on it. It exploded in 2 days. Now another coil or the wedge is developed. It may have broken out Friday. Keep an eye on 1665. You get through that, you can run to 20 and 25. CRNT, Saragon's been a tech trader swing a couple times, but it broke out here, it pulled back, and then broke out again. Swing from 3 to almost 6, 573. Wedged at the moving average and trend line, spiked up and pulled back. Still like this stock for a move eventually to 7.8. Crocs, that's my short list. Cisco, well, how about that? Good old friend Cisco. The only problem with Cisco is it's up against the 21 high, so it may have a problem there, but it's a beautiful chart. I wanted to show you the angle of ascent. It shows that it might be a $70 stock at some point. Chinese stock Dow, I believe it's Chinese with a U Dow type name. 1, 2, wedge, 3, 4, flag, and it's moving. May not be done. Channel top target 11. Delcath, gorgeous chart. November of 23, 230. Friday's high, that would be 1839. We're talking a 7-fold increase, if not more. And the rising channel indicates it ain't done yet. $20 target. DMAC breaks out of a base, coils, pops, consolidates, and spikes back up on Friday. If it gets through the Friday high of 650, you might see 7.75 and 9.5. DLCS, great chart, long base, breakaway gap, runs up and pulls back. Another breakaway gap. This is more of a running gap and then a consolidation. This is maybe an exhaustion gap. I don't know yet, but momentum could take it to high 80s. DSP, great looking rising channel from 3 to 25, breaking out recently through some key resistance as well. Friday was a big day for it, engulfing reversal bar to the upside. Follow through target 28.9. ELDN, multiple waves up. This beautiful wedge consolidation is a setup, I think, for a pop and a run to 6 and 7.5. ERJ as a tech trader swing from, I think, the mid-20s when it was right about here, and then pulled back, consolidated, ran, pop. But, you can see the stock goes up in steps. Exploded on Wednesday, and then it reversed Friday. But 48 and 52 are targets. Flex, great chart, rising channel, basically gone from 11 to 44, quadrupled, and yet it doesn't look done. If we get up to 46, 50, and 55 are targets. FLS, another beauty, rising channel, pushing towards the top of it, but a target's 70. FMC, let's see, this is Fannie Mae Federal Home Loan Mortgage, pop coil. They may be going private. There's a lot of things going on here, but this is a 1, 2, 3, 4. The fifth wave broke out on Thursday and had an inside day Friday. Something's cooking. Might see 9 or 10 on it. FNMA, same thing. You might see 12 or 13 on that. Fastly broke out. We put a swing on it and ran up to the target and backed off. It's trying to break out again, but it's right on the trend line and on the moving average. It needs to hold there. The targets are 12 and 14. Chinese stock Futu, one of the stronger ones, surged, wedged, and Friday exploded and broke out in the midst of a lousy market. Something to watch, targeting 112 and 118. GDS, great chart, popped and broke out at multiple year highs. You get through that, you might be looking at 35. GDYN, a beautiful rising 45-degree angle chart, holding the trend line and moving average all the way. Now making new highs, looking for 28. GH, breakaway, retest, rising channel, And here it is. Currently in the pullback consolidation mode. Target 60. GLW, that's Corning. Really nice looking chart as well. Extension target 63. GRRR, we did great with this one. It exploded in here. It ran up like phenomenal, 4 times your money. Formed the coil. Broke out above key resistance Thursday and fell through Friday. I'm looking for an extension on this one to get to 25 or more. GTES, really nice pattern overall. Break out of the base there. Retest and wedge, break out again, and this is rising. New all-time highs, folks. So I'm looking for 25. HAPS rising channel breaks out of a coil last week. Looks to me like it wants to extend to at least 5. HIMS, super strong start. Chart, new all-time highs. I'm not sure what's fueling it, but momentum could carry this to 50. Gold, junior gold or gold, Harmony gold, beautiful rising channel. I wanted to show it to you. It's at resistance. My target, 18. Robinhood formed the base, broke out there. It's been nothing but a rising channel since 14. Currently 56. At resistance, long in the tooth. I'd be careful, but it has momentum. HSAI, tech trader swing, popped wedge, and popped again. Now it's flagging. I think it gets to 22.3. Great chart. Howmet, talk about great stock charts. This aerospace stock has gone from November 23 low of 43 to 130, and it's flagging in this area. I could see 137.40, but it's long in the tooth. Junior gold, IM gold, break out of a base, rising channel. Target is 8 3/4. IBM hasn't looked this good in years. Broke out of a base, pop, retest, and it's running. My target's 300 to 315. INOD. Well, the recent angle shows a 1, 2, 3, 4. If the 5th wave comes, and it looks like it could shortly, we could see mid 60s, even 70, 80, 90. So this is one of those stocks that could fly, could be a swing. IONQ, huge run out of this base from 8 all the way up to the 50s, and now the pullback. If they're getting smacked with some of the quantum stocks, it's now flagging. Needs to get over 45.5 with volume. Then you're looking at low and mid 50s or more. IoT, Samsara, what a great long-term chart. Even the near-term channel tells me 62 is the target. I showed you Jets in the airline group. Java, this is a really sneaky little stock. I remember years ago we traded this back in here, but for now you can see the rising channel is taking this from literally 65 cents to the spike high of 5.59, target is 7.5, 8. One of the strongest Chinese stocks out there is KC. It has literally gone from 217 to 17. The target is low 20s. LAES exploded. This is a junior semiconductor from 35 cents to $11, 30-fold increase in about 2.5 weeks. Now you can see why it consolidated or pulled back. It pulled all the way back under 3 to 2 3/4 and started to move on late in the week when it reached 447. Resistance and targets are 5 1/4, 6 1/2, and 8. Obvious major support 2 3/4. LEU is a sneaky stock, but it's a member of the energy group, serving the nuclear energy group. This stock exploded on Friday, jumping 25.75 or 31%. Resistance at 120.25, but I think this could get to 150 if the group continues to go. Lee, the better, larger Chinese electric vehicle manufacturers, spiked to the December high, which was 26.70, reaching 26.65 on Friday. We get through that, 29 and 31.2 are targets. LYX, coming out of a base across the declining top sign right to resistance. We get through here, we could see mid and high 20s. This is LLYX. This is the ETF for Lilly. Lilly, with a couple new drug approvals, have a major breakout on Thursday, and it looks like this wants to go back to 950 or so. If that happens, The LLX could be back to high 20s. Lenzar, something new I've been watching. One of my institutional clients loves the story. New all-time highs. And you can see the stair-step move Friday, engulfing bullish reversal bar, targeting 15. LSF has been on my list for a year. Pop, coil, bullish, little pennant, larger falling wedge, a little pennant, pop, and another falling wedge. To me, this is a $16, $18 stock. Could be a swing even from here. Lightbridge exploded in October. Hard pullback for 2 months in a falling wedge into December. Reached the 440 range, and now it's tripled back to 12 with a Friday run from 871 to 1268. This looks like it could retest and even take out the high from back in October when it reached 14 and change. That's your next target. Beyond that, 18, 19. LTH, this is the Lifetime Group. Breaks to a massive major double top and then consolidates three-wave corrective. Falling wedge of sorts. Breakout and run. Target 35. Lunar, as you know, we've been trading this and it was a swing for a while. Breakout, pop coil, pop wedge, another one, and another one. Where can it go? Well, if this continues, 35 is a target, double. LX, pop wedge, pop flag, and pop. Unbelievable. Great chart. I missed it. I think it goes maybe 9 or 10. Good momentum. MBOT, spike, wedge, and breakout on Friday. If we continue, 3.5 and 4.5 might be targets. Mesoblast, this biotech exploded and consolidated and stair stepped its way higher. Wedge, breakout, coil near the apex. Keep an eye on this one next week. Going forward, it could explode 24, 28, 32, etc. MGNI with a big deal, broke out of a long-term base, formed a nice little wedgie, consolidation, call it a flag, and spiked last week. Extension target is 23, and then maybe 26. MIND, breakaway gap in December, exploded, pulled back, and now stair stepping its way higher in a really strong rising channel, targeting 11. MNPR, as we know, spiked in October and pulled back and has been in a steady rising channel ever since. Ultimate target, 70. MP, a tech trader swing, pop broke out, wedged, and it starts stepping its way higher. It's moved from 18 and change to mid-20s. I'm looking for high 20s. NANX, as you can see, popped in November. From the wedge, we put a swing on it. It went from about 190 to 287 and pulled back, reaching over 3 to 315 recently, and pull back again. Ultimately, I think 3 3/4 and 5 are targets. NBIS, what a wonderful comeback from this crush back on January 2nd when it got, creamed. Steady recovery. We told you that when it was trading in the mid-20s, it could be back to 35 or 40. Well, Friday's high, 39.50. And that was a key breakout day, too. Underlying technicals could be better. The overall long-term chart shows the possibility this could be a $50 stock. Market cooperating, of course. NET, look at this chart. What a spike move this has had recently. Cloudflare has gone after breaking out of the base and forming a wedgie. It's moved from 85, doubled to 171. NNE, a member of that wild and crazy nuclear energy group, after spiking up, is now wedging again. My target is 55. That's right, 20 points. NRG, a member of the nuclear energy group as well, targeting 120. Support 94.5. Netgear breaks out of a flag that it's been in for about 5 weeks on Friday. Looking for retest of the spike high at 32 and then 36 and 38. Great chart. NTRA is a stock I gave you when it broke out back, I think it was early of last year, trading in the 80s. It's moved up and doubled to 182. Well, and now my target is 220. NXL, this is now up for 8 days in a row. and it's consolidating above the breakout point. I like this chart. For it moved to 4.5 and 6, could be a nice swing. OCS, look at this flag. Big base, breakout, retest. Ascending bull wedge, breakaway move, flag. I think it's got that kind of momentum where this could be in the mid-20s, maybe 27. OKLO, swing extraordinaire, has worked very well for us. Broke out, wedged, exploded, retested, boom. The last 2 weeks, it's gone from 29 to 59. That's right, 30 points, 2 weeks. How far up can it go? Yeah, it's a hard call, but I'd have to say from a parallel channel standpoint, 80? Wow. ONON is a text-traded swing from when it broke out here. It did well for us, but it's gone 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 waves since then. This is a nasty looking reversal to me. 100% stop under 53.5. Careful. OPFI exploding to 17, a new all-time high, but this one's gone from 2 and change of April of last year to 17. Overbought. Momentum, you betcha. PAYO popped here. We put a swing on it. Stock's gone from 7 to 11, 12, and consolidating. I don't think it's done. I think if the market cooperates, we get a phase in bull phase, this could double or at least go up to 414, 15. PBI, Puma, I mean not Puma, Pitney Bowes has been a beautiful rising channel for more than a year and a half. And after breaking out to new highs, it's wedging. My target, 10. Paladine, pop, pullback channel, pop, coil. It's just poised to pop, isn't it? 15, 16, 21, 22, 30 plus, all possible. Keep an eye on this one. PL, breaks out of a base, wedges, runs, targeting 8. Palantir's been just bazookas, but crazy. You have to put a stop under 99, in my opinion. But the target is 124, 130. Poet has been in a beautiful, choppy, rising channel, very much like Laird Superfoods and a few others that do. Pop flag, pop coil, pop wedge, that type of thing. Right now, I'm looking for 11. 11. That's right. First a retest of 8, though. PPTA, pop, long consolidation base, breakout, rising channel. Target 16. PSTG, tech trader swing, finally broke out, pulled back, and now it's moving again. I got a target in the high 80s. QBTS. Now the quantum group looks all similar. I want you to know that this is either going to explode out of here or implode. So you got to be really careful. Do not anticipate. Wait for a pop of these. QBTS, QUBT, Rigetti, etc. We'll get to those later. QFIN, beautiful rising channel. Top of the channel targets around 50. QSI. Quantum, this is in a biotech group. At 1, 2, 3, 4, big explosive fifth wave and a pullback. If it holds here and breaks out, my targets are at 3 and 4. QUBT is the other one we mentioned. If it breaks out over 12.5 with any energy, it could fly. The targets then would be, 18 and 22. But on the downside, any breakdown could be pretty ugly for this one. Red Cat. Beautiful long-term chart. Broke out recently, but is it a left shoulder, head, right shoulder for me? It might be. Careful. Target would be, though, if it does go, retest of 15 and then maybe 20. Red wire, a very bullish long-term chart. Multiple waves up, however. Careful up here. It's long in the tooth. Having gone from 2 to the mid-20s. Reborn Coffee. Wow, what a spike that had. Now consolidating. Is this going to go to 8.5 and 10.5? Well, I'll let you know next week when we examine it. Support 415.25. Remedy Global broke out of a base with a breakaway gap. Has been nothing but straight up in the rising channel for 3 months, taking it from 17.5 to 26. Might be ready for a move to test the all-time high near 28. Rigetti. I like this V bottom with the right hand extension. Technicals look good. This is a quantum stock, though. You need to get it, for starters, over 15.15 with energy. That's, quite a bit from here. Keep an eye on this one next week closely. Rocket Lab, also long in the tooth. April low, about 3.5 to a spike over 31, 33 range. If it holds it here, great. The rising channel could spike to the upside or roll over. And you have to be really cautious on this one. Above 33, 30, 35, we can see 40, 45, 50, anything crazy. In the robotics group, RR popped, broke out from the wedge, trying to go again. If it does, you might see a run back to 8 or 9. RSI, beautiful rising channel. Rush Street Interactive has been in this trend for a year, since last January when it was 3.5, and has made it up to the mid-teens. Target 20 to 22. Sage, I'm showing you this one because here's a stock that traded over 200, came all the way down to 4, when the base and broke out. Look at that coil. Now, if it goes, your target's 8.5 and 10. Don't anticipate. Wait for some volume. I say TL, how about this move in November? 1 to 5.5 in 2 weeks, and then the falling wedge. It broke out Friday. This may come on strong here. Targets. Retest 4.25 and then 5 3/4. Then we'll see. SCRB also broke out Friday. This is one of our swings. It's been coiling for about 3, 4, 5 weeks now. If it makes any kind of follow through here, and I think the group wants to go, we'll look at 25 as your first target. Shopify Tech Trader swing, when it broke out, is poised to pop. If it gets above 122, my target's 130 and 145. Now here's a stock that I've been following and own. This is a personal position of mine, SkyX, and I didn't give it to you because it was under 2, but it closed at 207. It's just a beautiful base pattern after a long-term falling wedge, declining pattern, broke out, wedged, popped to resistance, had a falling wedge, broke out, another falling wedge, and now broke out again. My technical targets are 285 and 4. SMR, another of the nuclear energy stocks, not quite as strong, but something to watch. Should it break out over 30, 30.5, then you can get into the high 30s, low 40s. If the whole group is running, this will too. And so you went with a wonderful chart and a fantastic move from 5 to 25 in just 7 weeks. Finally came down and bounced around. I don't know if it breaks back out again because it looks like it could, but you must play this with a stop underneath 12, 12.25. If it breaks out over 17.5, 3/4, then you can look for 22, 25 and above. SPIR, Aspire Global. Great chart. We actually made a trade on that back in here. It then, after spiking down a negative news back in August 6.25, has tripled to 21 and then some. You can see that the way it looks, the angle of ascent, mid-20s target. SRAD, Sports Radar has been on my list for a few months now. Breakaway gap, flag, and pop. Looking pretty good, but it did reverse Friday. Target 24. SSYS comes through a declining channel, pop, falling wedge, right to support. There's the wedge I'm talking about. Breakout and spike from 8.5 to 12.88. Targets 14 and 16. AT&T, what do you know? Look at this chart. Unbelievable chart. Up against key resistance, however. So I just wanted to show you the way this pattern has developed. Pretty impressive. Talk. Finally broke out a mini inverse head and shoulders and got up to and closed above the highest level we've seen in a while. Now the chart angle tells me the possibilities on this one are $5. Teladoc, Tech Trader swing broke out. We put a swing on it. It's extended. I think it gets to 15, 16. We'll see. TKNO, beautiful chart. I've been showing this for months now. Fantastic rising channel. 45-degree angle of ascent. Extension target is 13 and 15. TOST, big base, breakout, wedge, and it's moving again. Right now the target's 50. TSSI I put on as a swing a few weeks ago, but this one's gone literally from a quarter to $15.50. Unbelievable move. It still doesn't look done yet. Top of the channel, high 20s. Take two, big breakout Friday. I want to point this out. Right at the all-time high, ever, and should have break through that. This might run, but it did have a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, so be careful up here. Tuya, big move. Just in the last 3 weeks. 162 to 373. The target's 4.5 on momentum, but it's extended. TVTX breaks out of a multi-month consolidation zone and is edging higher. Eventually, if it gets to 23 and change, I could see 28. Twilio, big breakaway 2 weeks ago and now flagging. Wow, this is a very powerful chart. Not going to be surprised to see 160 and 180. UAMY, a new one I just discovered from one of my sources this weekend. It's a metal stock with a fantastic chart. And if it gets up through 2 3/4, which is the multi-year high, we might see 5. Unify. Look at this chart. Doesn't look done yet, does it? Targeting 34, 38, and mid-40s. Universal Technical Institute in the educational group. What a chart. After breaking out of major consolidation base at 12, it's gone up to 30.5 and maybe looking for mid-30s. BATE breaks out of a base with a breakaway gap and it now has a rising channel or flag, although it did pull back on Friday. I'm looking for 14. VIAV breakout, now wedge forming. It's broken out of a beautiful base pattern. May fill this gap as well. It's right at that gap fill. The next target, 15. Viking, I believe this is the Viking Cruises. Just went public. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 waves already, but momentum could carry this into the mid to high 50s. VIRT, beautiful long-term chart, breaks out of a base, rising channel. Don't know how far they can take this. Friday was not a good day for it, but if it does reverse, my target's 44. Vimeo breaks out, pulls back. I put a swing on it and then popped. It hasn't really done that much, but it is holding steadily. And what looks like a multi-month wedge in wave 4. If it goes 8 and 9 3/4 type targets. VNet breaks out of a base and just goes vertical right to my target. Next target though is up here at 14. Verona, beautiful rising channel. What the heck? Look at this thing go. How about 12 to 60, 5-fold, and still looks higher. VST in the energy group. Got hammered back like several of them did, and now flagging. If they break this, this is going to be $200 plus. Vuzi, how about this stock? Base breakout exploded literally from 85 cents to 5.79. That took about 6 weeks. Then pull back down and form the wedge. If we break this wedge, we'll retest 5 3/4, maybe get to 7.5. Wave, beautiful pop wedge, and then a strong 5-wave move up, and then a consolidation. It may have popped on Friday, and if it does, your targets are 12, 17, and 24. WEAV, that's Weave Communications, breakout, retest, consolidate, ascending bull coil, breakout. Might make a run at 22, 23. WKEY, I put a swing on it. It hasn't really worked because it looked like it was going to break out there, but it did not. It pulled back down to retest support. Just keep your stops under 5 3/4. My targets, however, still are 10 and 13 or more. How about Walmart? It's doubled, folks, doubled from 51 to 101. I don't know how far they take this, but I wanted to show you that chart. Warby Parker, beautiful base, breakout, rising channel, looks like 32 and 36 are targets. And XNET, now here's an interesting Chinese stock with a base and a breakout a spike Thursday, Friday. So I'll go from 2.5 to 318. It might be one of those flyers that runs into the 4-5 range quickly. XPEV, the Chinese automotive player that we like, reversal bar on Friday, but the overall chart is so solid. 19 and 22 could be targets if there's an extension. Chinese stock YMM also breaking out, pulled back, tested, and now it's moving up again. I think this is headed for 15. And finally, Zeta, which we did great with. It got slam dunked, and a 3-wave corrected rising wedge to the moving average, and then came down to retest. It spiked back up Thursday, Friday. If I can get it back above 23, you might see 28 or more. That's it for the long side. I have a couple dozen shorts to show you, and we'll call it good for today. Semiconductor ALAB. Anytime I get a semiconductor stock with a strong run up, gets crushed and forms a rising wedge and starts to fail, something to consider on the short side. My targets are 85, 80, and below. Stop is over Thursday's high, above 111. CHRW, very toppy looking pattern, breaks down, is on support. Targets 92 and 85 if it breaks. Crocs. Well, we showed you the head and shoulder chart on this and the rising wedge and the tech trader swing short. It's dropped from 116 to 93. It targets right now 85, 77. DHI. Builders, not looking good. This is a residential construction firm. Head and shoulder top breakdown. Could not get back above resistance. Rolled over hard. Bounced to resistance again. Rolled over hard. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. A little lower. If we get down to 119.20, it could be a cover. Or it can just implode to $100. DHR broke down, snapped back, failed, and now is rolled over. My target now is 185. Digital Realty Trust, head and shoulder top breakdown and a rising wedge. This should be a tech trader swing short. I might institute one. Targets 155, 145, 135. DOOO, whew, ugly breakdown. And this looks to me like it could snap back a little more because it's so heavily oversold. However, look at the long-term chart. This is the lowest level in 5 years, and it might cascade lower. ESTA broke down, formed a wedge, and broke that wedge. I can see the stock getting down back in that 16 range, but for starters, maybe 22.3. FTAI is looking phenomenal. What a breakdown, and what a snapback right to resistance. And what did it form? That would be a rising wedge to the price and moving average resistance. And if it fails here, there's a possibility that this might be what it has in mind. And it ain't pretty. Watch this. A lot of room to drop, and I mean precipitously lower. Let's look for retests of 87 and then 77 for starters. HCA breakdown retest. If it fails and rolls over, your head and shoulders complete and the stock goes a lot lower. First target 290, second target 270. HROW popped on Friday on an upgrade, but I don't see it technically. Ugly, ugly, ugly. And if it gets below last week's low, 27, 22 are targets. A few weeks ago, I told you that Lighthouse had broken down and formed a bear wedge, and I said go short. That was at 165. It subsequently has dropped to 137 and forming a bear flag. You see it? That looks ominous. Ominous. My target's 121. Looking for 20 points down. Lennar. Boy, these builders look ugly. Now breaking key support. Possible projection down to 105.7. In Manhattan, this head and shoulder top with a massive breakaway never even got a snapback. That's how ugly it is. I think it might bounce at some point. If so, then your target's 185. MNDY broke down at wedge, breakdown at rising wedge. Still looking for this to break hard. And underneath 242, my target's 215. MOD broke down and forming a bear wedge. This is a tech trader swing, I believe. I'm going to add this Monday. It looks terrible. I don't know where it goes, but it's had a really big run and a lot of room to drop. Impinge. Well, when it broke down, formed the wedge, and then ran up again, I said this is unfortunately a short. I used to love this chart. It's dropped from 235 down to 100. So maybe time to cover, but it looks ugly. RXST topped out, broke down, spiked down and snapped back, but it's got resistance, key resistance, up around 37. If it gets there, it's a short for a move to the mid-20s maybe. SIG, I told you to short this stock when it broke down. I can't stand this company. Anyway, you can see it's dropped from 89 to 52, and I believe it's got more to go to the downside, although there's some big support here long term. STNG, one of those shipping stocks that I noticed is bear flag here after it broke down and retested. Look at the rollover. This does look ugly, and I think it goes lower, 42 and 38 targets. TNK is another, it says oil and gas, but I believe they're a oil and gas shipping stock. Head and shoulder top. 1, 2, 3, 4. A wave 4 wedge. If there's a fifth wave, we could be looking at 30. Toll Brothers, another builder that looks like it collapsed on Friday. I think this goes lower. Retesting this area looks very potential. 1089. TT, train with a head and shoulder top and a breakdown and looking like this is going lower. This too should be a tech trader swing in my opinion. I got a target at 318. It's not 356. Tetra Tech slammed, bear flag, rolled over. Oh, I don't know how far they take this down, but it's not a pretty chart. UHS, I've been telling you the short since it broke down from the bear wedge there. Broke down again from another one and broke on Friday. I think they take this down to about 158. And finally, Weatherford, even though it had a good week, I've been telling you to short this stock since it was breaking down and forming a bear wedge there on 109. From 109, she dropped to 60. Not bad, 50 points. All right, well, folks, that's it for me. And that's it for the shorts and for a comprehensive look at the indices, the underlying technicals, the major ETFs that we follow, NASDAQ 100 generals, and of course, a bunch of longs and a few dozen shorts. Lots of ideas for next week, folks. You are obviously should be aware of what this market looks like right now, and it ain't pretty. HB out for now. Have a great rest of your weekend. Bye now.